Some places feel heavy just to say their names. This weight doesn't press down on your tongue. Instead, it sinks slowly into your heart, sending ripples of history through your chest. Luoyang is one such city. Unlike Chang'an, blazing with the overwhelming splendor and boldness of the Tang Dynasty, as if it wants to scorch the world's attention. Luoyang is more like an ancient jade polished by time. It lies gently in the heart of Central Plains, its luster restrained, warm to the touch, yet inherently substantial, held in the palm of civilization. It is neither light nor loud, just enough to cradle the entire childhood and youth of China. This weight stems from two sources, not just the name of 13-dynasty recorded in history, like a long string of glorious incantations, but more importantly the thousands of years flowing silently through its mountains and rivers. That time has seeped into every inch of soil, transforming into peonies in spring, chrysanthemums in autumn, and the quiet vastness of snow blanketing broken walls in winter. Walking through Luoyang streets, even the air feels thicker. Every breeze carries allusions and poems. Plane trees leaves outside Jian'an Gate drift into Northway Buddhist scripture. Rust beneath Dingding Gate press against the Tang Dynasty moonlight. Even the aroma of mountain soap waiting from ordinary alleys seems to have simmered for over a dozen centuries. We arrived on a cool autumn day, when the air was crisp and clean, like linen rinsed repeatedly in rain. The Yi River flowed quietly, still tinged with the chill of night dew, as if lingering in the dream of the previous evening. Reluctant to wake, a thin mist hovered above the water, dripping the Longmen Mountains across the river in a night view. The mountains lost their sharp edges in the fog, resembling an ancient ink wash painting where the ink had blurred slightly, prioritizing mood over form. The cave grottos dotting the cliff face, as dense as beehive, hid in the shadows, like countless half-closed eyes that had witnessed everything. The Luoyang Museum makes this sense of history tangible. A bronze jewel, a drizzle wine vessel from the Erlitou ruins, key site of China's early Xia Dynasty, glow with the faint green light under the spotlights, while nearly fake pottery sharks still borne the fingerprints of their makers. In the Heluo Civilization Exhibition Hall, painted pottery figurines from the East Han Dynasty stood in procession. The leading guide had a solemn expression and wore a ring-pommel sword in his vest. A lad carriage with ornate canopy stood tall, and the horse's muscles were covered with vivid, powerful lines. The Tang Tri-color Ceramics held drew the most visitors. Camels loaded with silk, Central Asian merchants leading horses, their glazes shimmering with the prosperity of the Tang Dynasty. A merchant figurines with deep-set eyes, and a high nose carried a water punch at his waist, and a diamond-painted blanket lay across his camel's back, as if the tinkle of camel bells from the Silk Road could still be heard. A young girl lingered by a display case, murmuring the label Silk Road under her breath. Her soft voice ripped through the quiet hall. To understand a city, you might start with its soil. The wind at Erlitou blows freshly, kicking up dust that carries the scent of 4,000 years. A pottery shard handed to me by our guard had rough cut marks that pressed into my palm, suddenly reminding me of the turquoise dragon artifact in the museum. Its teeny stone pieces glowed faintly under the light, the dragon's curve seeming to still ride with life. There's no grandeur here like that of Longmen. The aura is inward and restrained. Only large, gently mounted earthen platforms rise up, like the sleeping bones of the earth, while crisscrossing archaeological trenches resemble incrustations made by historians to trace the veins of this ancient line. Zhenxun, the capital of the Xia Dynasty, might lie right beneath our feet. The pottery shard in my paw felt cool at first, but upon closer notice, a strange warmth from the distant past seeped into my veins. The Xia in history books record of Yu, the great controlling force, and dividing the land into 9 regions, suddenly shed their abstract printed form and became concrete. I imagined life 4,000 years ago. Early settlers using stone and bone tools to ram earth into the walls of China's first imperial city. Shamans standing on desolate high platforms, wearing animal skins and hemp clothes, gazing at the stars to interpret the will of heaven. The turquoise dragon being reverently buried in a ritual pit, embodying the earliest worship of dragon, a symbol of rain and power. This is where Chinese civilization truly dawned. The first light of day breaking, all things awakening, filled with acquired courage and inspired brilliance. This wisdom endures at White House Temple, China's first officially built Buddhist temple. After Buddhism's instruction to the country, its incense has burned continually since the Eastern Han Dynasty. The shadow of Qiyun Pagoda fell slantwise into the release pond, startling a few koi fish. Walking on the blue stone slab of Qingliang Terrace, I couldn't help but imagine the scene when the Indian monks Kanshampa Makanda and Dhammarana translate scripture here. The words of the Sutra of 42 chapters might have taken shape on an autumn day just like this one. The surface of temples thousands years old will still reflects the shadow of the Buddhist tree, creating a quiet meditative distance from the noisy world beyond the temple gate. This tolerance is Luoyang's most endearing trait. When Buddhism spread east to here, it did not destroy the existing foundations of Confucianism and Taoism. Instead, it merged with them, giving birth to the unique meditative spirit of Chinese Buddhism. To grasp Luoyang's royal aura, you can't help but look toward Mangshan Mountain. I never climbed it, but on many afternoons and evenings, I'd choose a high spot, sometimes by the Luo River, and gaze at the stretch of grayish-green mountains lying across the northern part of the city. There are no steep, dramatic peaks here. The mountains slope gently, their rounded contours like a mother's embracing arms. As the old saying goes, few patches of Mangshan soil lie idle. Most are grave of Luoyang's former residents. The mountain's eternal silence stands in sharp contrast to the bustle of the human world. The mausoleum of Emperor Guangwu Liu Xiu lies nestled among the pines, and cypresses at the foot of the mountains resting against the sound of the Yellow River's waves. In its remarkable simplicity, it guards the Han Dynasty that Liu Xiu restored to glory. Looking past the modern buildings, I imagine the grand view from the top of Mangshan. To the north, the Yellow River stretches across the horizon like a yellow skill ribbon. To the south, the peaks of Songshan Mountains loom in the distance, and in between, Luoyang lies peacefully, embraced by mountains and rivers. The Yi, Luo, Chan, and Jian rivers wind across the plain like green skill ribbons. This fortress-like land was truly a heaven-sent residence for the kings. Emperors of past dynasties chose this place precisely for its strategic advantage. Easy to defend, easy to control the surrounding areas. After overthrowing the Shang Dynasty, King Wu of Zhou once praised this land, saying, "This is the center of the world. All regions can send tributes here with equal ease." Yet natural barriers alone were never enough to ensure a dynasty permanence. My thoughts drift to Hangu Pass. Today, its ancient ruins are no more than brick walls, half buried in wind and sunset glow. Running my hand over the rough-rammed earth walls, I could almost hear the hooves of Lao Tzu's blue ox as he passed through the pass. Rainwater collected in the deep ruts, reflecting the drifting clouds in the sky. This pass once guarded Luoyang's peace for centuries. Yet, in the end, it couldn't even protect itself. The ruins of the Han-Wei Luoyang city best embody this cycle of rise and fall. In the huge pit that was once foundation of Yangning Temple's pagoda, charred wooden pillars still lie in the position they collapsed into. I try to picture how magnificent this pagoda must have been, rising 90 zhang high, as recorded in the rocket of the Buddhist temple of Luoyang. The book notes that one could see it from 100 li outside the capital. Large patches of sunflowers grew in the ruined park. Their golden flowers had swaying in the autumn wind. The bright colors standing in striking contrast to the gray earthen platforms, a reminder that death and rebirth have always coexisted on this land. Tearing my gaze away from Mangshan, I walked to the Luo River, my heart heavy with the weight of history. The river was calm and full, flowing slowly eastward. The willow leaves along the banks were half yellow, glistening with transparent gold in the backlight of the setting sun. Water birds skim the surface. Their wingtips break the river's mirror like calm. This is the river where the legend of the Luo River goddess began. Cao Zijian's visit imagination drapes the ancient river in an eternal veil of romance. This poetic vision overlapped strangely with the image of young girls releasing lotus lanterns by the lake in the Luoyi ancient town, scenes separate by centuries, yet feeling so close. The Luo River gave Luoyang more than just a legend. At the Luoyang Grand Canal Cultural Museum, looking at the Sui Dynasty bollards and the replica cargo ships, I finally understood the source of the city vitality, its unbroken heritage. The world's small streams follow southeast. The canal carries ships far and wide, are still clearly visible on the ancient studios, and the carbonized millet grains still retain their original shape. It's easy to imagine the prosperity of the Sui and Tang dynasties. Grain transported via the Grand Canal piled up like mountains, sustaining the vitality of the international metropolis with a population of over 1 million. More importantly, the Luo River and other waterways deposited rich soil, creating fertile plains that nourished this 1,000-year-old imperial capital. The Heluo plain with its fertile soil, abundant water and mild climate is a heaven-sent granary, serving as the rice bag and vegetable basket for the capital. No grand palace or solemn ritual could last without a steady supply of food. The Luo River's water didn't just reflect the illusory beauty of the Luo gardens or listen to Cao Zijian's timeless pour. They also irrigated tens of thousands of mu of farmland, sustaining generations of Luoyang's people. Their joys, sorrows, births, and deaths were all tied to this river. Night fell over Luoyang like a drop of thick ink spreading slowly. I climbed the reconstruction Yingtianmen Gate Tower, feeling as if I'd stepped into a space between two areas. As dusk turned to night, the entire tower suddenly lit up, golden lights outlining its majestic silhouette. Looking north from tower, I saw the Mingtang and Tiantang glowing brightly, while tiny palace lanterns floated on the surface of Jiuzhou Pond. A few young women in hanfu stood by the pond taking photos, their dresses fluttering in the wind, like palace maids who traveled through time. The scene reminded me of the cultural relics I'd seen in the museum. Those artifacts speak quietly of the past, while the city is now writing a new story. The character of restructured ancient steel buildings, aiming to recreate the grandeur of the Tang Dynasty's main street, stand out with their crimson pillars and golden glazed tiles, bright under the lights, even a little too new. In the distance, the skyscraper of Luoyang is new district rose up, their glass facades reflecting neon lights, outlining a skyline full of futuristic energy, a testament to the city's 21st century ambition. Further away, beyond the Sea of Light, the ruins of the Hanwei Luoyang city lay submerged in darkness and silence. Its former prosperity had been reduced to rammed earth and shared buried underground. Closer by, the bright light of Mingtang and Tiantang declared model people's interpretation of the Tang Dynasty's glory. Together with the soft reflection of the pavilions and towers dotted around Jiuzhou Pond, they wove a flowing night scene when illusion and reality met. Standing at the crossroad of past and present, time seemed to compress. In the days, I could see Duke Zhou measuring the shadow of the sun on an earth platform to find the center of the earth. Ban Gu writing rhapsody on the two capitals in the Imperial Academy. Emperor Xiaowen of the Northern Wei Dynasty promoting sanitization reforms. Empress Wu Zetian ruling over the empire from her palace. Bai Juyu composing poems and drinking wine at Xiangshan Temple. Meanwhile, the lonely moonlight over the roofs of Shangyang Palace silently thought of the inevitable end of all prosperity. Thousands of years has passed since then. They have all become ink strokes in history books, exhibited in museums, and broken bricks and tile buried underground. But Luoyang remains. It is like a giant old tree. Dynasties are its leaves, which wither and regrow each year. But its trunk deeply reloaded in the Heluo land remains strong. Today's Luoyang is no longer the divine capital, where envoys from all nations knelt before the emperor. But it has found a new rhythm. The roar of machines continues its tradition of manufacturing. Crowds of tourists during holidays carry on the aesthetic appreciation of its glorious past. The digital preservation project at Longmen Grottos gives internal life to the ancient Buddha statues in a virtual world, and the aroma of mutton soup wafting from ordinary alleys carries the unique calmness of Luoyang's people. Luoyang does not shy away from its past. Ruins and museums are carefully preserved like the city's growth ruin. Nor does it linger in the past. The blueprints for the new district reveal its ambition for the future. This balance is its strength. It knows where its roots lie, so it dares to reach toward a broader sky. As I rode past the Luo River, the city's lights reflect on the water, merging with the stars and the moon above. I knew Luoyang would stay here, standing quietly for the thousands of years. Perhaps this sickness, embedded in the ordinary days of its people, is what makes it most moving. Late at night, I wandered past Yingtianmen once more. The special square was passed with lots out of a store and tourists from afar, all busy capturing the grand beauty of this moment. Standing atop the city gate and looking north along the century axis, the dazzling lights of Mingtang and Tiantang blended with the soft reflections of Jiuzhou Pool, weaving a flowing night scene that feels both ancient and modern. This fusion of past and present is Luoyang's fate, always inheriting with innovating, moving forward while cherishing its roots. Peony season has long passed, but the branches and leaves still stay large and green. It made me recall the poem I saw in the museum. Only periods deserve the name of national beauty. When they bloom, the whole capital is stirred. Today's Luoyang continues to write its story in the daily warmth of alleyways, the timeless smell of Longmen Grottos, and every ordinary day. When the sun shines brightly over Yique, stand by the Yi River, watch a mist rise from the water, winding around thousands of niches carved into the cliffs. Those Buddha statues chimes into lightsbone fixing the sunlight, as if waking from a 1,000-year meditation. The air smells sycamore leaves and the unique moisture of the river. In Binyang Central Cave, the reliefs are badly damaged, but you can still make out the robes of Emperor Xiaowen of Northern Wei. The main Buddha in the North Cave has the slender elegance of the Northern Wei style, with robes falling so smoothly they seem ready to dance in the wind. Yet there's already the gentle warmth of the central plains in these blood and ice. The Sakyamuni statue in the Seven Cave is even more solemn. Though the famous emperor worshipping the Buddha relief was stolen and damaged long ago, only faint traces remain, leaving you to imagine how craftsmen carved the emperor's piety into stone centuries ago. nothing prepares you for the awe of Fengxian Temple. When the sun fully lights up the Lushana Buddha's face, its iconic smile feels even more profound in the autumn glow. The Buddha's head tilts slightly forward, eyes filled with compassion. No matter where you stand, you feel like you are being gently watched over. Legend has it that this statue was modeled after Empress Wu Zetian, blending imperial dignity with feminine grace. While resting on the stone bench, an elderly local sat beside me and said, "I've been coming here for over 70 years. Sometimes I think the Buddha is changing. Sometimes I realize it's just me." That line hit me hard. I finally get why ancient emperors fell for Luoyang. It's not just the strategic location of 4 fortified passes, the convenience of being the center of the world, or the magnificent mountains and rivers embracing the city. Those are all practical reasons for making it a capital. But more than that, Luoyang has a unique temperament. The ability to embrace prosperity and decline, observe joy and sorrow, and stay true to itself through the river of time. It has witnessed the peak of prosperity and endured the agony of destruction. Yet every time it rises from the ruins, turning the scars of history into deep, unique patterns, like the marks on an old tree, recording storms and showing resilience. Luoyang's depth isn't just in the 13 dynasties. It's in these moments. The Northern Way Buddha face in the museum smiling at the Longmen carvings. Ancient canal boats sharing waves with modern cruise ships. Hanfu cloud girls holding lotus lanterns that light up thousand-year-old palaces. It uses the gentle wave of the Yi River, the fertile soil of Mount Mountain, the Buddha's light of Longmen, the rats of Dingdingmen Gate, the auroras of the Grand Canal, and the bells of White House Temple, to silently tell stories of power, civilization, war, integration, destruction, and rebirth. All these dramatic or ordinary tales eventually set into a calm that dailies, plains, and the deep in the bone, filling in the air, seeping into the springs, and reflected in the unhurried pace and laid-back nature of Luoyang people. As I turn to look at Luoyang at night, the lights of 10,000 homes sparkle like a galaxy fallen to earth, or eternal fishing fires flickering in the river of history. It has stood here quietly for thousands of years, seeing so much, bearing so much. Steady as Mount Mountain, flowing as the Luo River. This is Luoyang, unhurried, waiting for everyone who's ready to understand it.